Hi, everyone. My name is Jen, and I head up marketing for Scribd. Thank you all so much for coming to tonight's Scribd Chat in partnership with the New York Times. How many of you are familiar with Scribd? Oh, not enough. So for the majority of you, Scribd is kind of like a Netflix for reading. So for only $9 a month, you get unlimited audiobooks, ebooks, and so much more. So definitely check it out. And one of our favorite things at Scribd is to connect readers and authors. And we're so excited to welcome author Marie Forleo tonight. So Marie is the author of Everything is Figureoutable, which just debuted as #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. So an amazing accomplishment. In addition, Marie has been named a thought leader for the next generation by Oprah, is star of the award-winning show Marie TV, which has had over 50 million views. And she's the host of the Marie Forleo podcast, which has been downloaded over 10 million times. So pretty incredible. And tonight, Marie is going to be in conversation with Joanna Nikas, who is an editor for the New York Times covering style, fashion, health, and wellness. So I know this is going to be an incredible conversation, so I'm going to turn it over to these two. Thank you for coming.
Is this thing on? Yes, it is. Hi. Wow. What a good-looking crowd. Hello, San Francisco. Hi, Joanna.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Joanna Nikas. I'm an editor at The Times. I'm here with Marie Forleo and the author of Everything is Figureoutable. And as you heard, as of 4 hours ago, #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Congratulations.
I was telling Joanna backstage, I lost my mind. We just put a little video on Instagram. You guys check it out later. Literally lost my mind.
Yeah, what did you do when you found out?
Oh my God, I started screaming and crying, mascara all over the face, threw myself on the bed, screamed more, was yelling at my publisher, no, are you serious? And it was very fun. It was very fun.
Well, we're going to be speaking about your book, and as well as tips and advice for people who, really the message resonates with them. So let's start with the book. So tell me, how did you come up with this idea that everything is, in your words, figureoutable?
Yes, so got to take it back to Jersey with the mama. That's right, going back to Jersey. So I will, most of you guys know this story, but for those who don't, you're going to hear it. So my mom is this super interesting character, right? She's 5'3". She's got the tenacity of a bulldog. She looks like June Cleaver, and she curses like a truck driver. It's one of my favorite things about my mama. So she grew up the daughter of 2 alcoholic parents in Newark, New Jersey, and she learned by necessity how to stretch a dollar bill around the block. Anyone else have a parent like that? Grandparents? Yes, yes, yes. So my mom made herself a promise that when she grew up, she was going to find a way to a better life. And I remember as a little girl in New Jersey on Sundays sitting at the kitchen table and cutting out coupons with my mom. It was one of those weekly practices, and I loved doing it because she loved teaching me all the ways that we could save money. She also loved to teach me about the fact that we could save up those proofs of purchase, and then brands would send you cool free stuff like cooking utensils or a recipe book. And one of my mom's favorite possessions in the whole world, still to this day, it was a little radio that she got from Tropicana Orange Juice for free. It looked like an orange. It had a red and white straw sticking out of the side. That was the antenna. By the way, y'all, ever since I wrote this book and did the Oprah talk, do you want to know how many friggin' Tropicana Orange little radios I have? Everyone buys them off of eBay and sends them straight to me. I have 40 of them. My mom's like, don't throw away one of them. I love them all. Anyway, when I was little, I knew that I could find her somewhere around the yard of the house by listening for the sound of that radio. So one day I was coming home from school and I'm like walking home all happy and I hear that tinny little sound of the music pumping coming from the house. You know, I was walking down the street. And as I got closer to my house, it was coming up from above. And I look up and I see my mom like all the way perched on the second story of our 2-story house on the roof with her little orange next to her, like, bah, 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 bah. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Is everything okay? It was really scary. And she said, Ree, I'm fine. The roof had a leak. I called the roofer. He said it was going to be at least $500. I said, screw that. I'm doing it myself. I come home another day from school, and I hear the sound of the radio coming from the back of the house. And I follow that sound, and turns out my mom's in the bathroom. And I push open the door, and there's like dust particles in the air, and there's pipes sticking out of the wall. It looked like a bomb went off. I was like, Mom, what are you doing? Is everything okay? And she's like, oh, I'm fine. You know, the tiles had some cracks in them, so I didn't want things to get moldy. I'm retiling the bathroom. So you got to get that this was the 80s. My mom is high school educated, so this is a pre-internet, pre-YouTube world. One day in the fall, I came home from school and something was different. So first of all, everything was dark out already. It was scary. And as I approached my house, there was no sound. It was silence. In an Italian-American house, that means trouble. Something is definitely wrong. So I walk in the house, no lights on, no sound of the radio. I'm like, where is she? What's happening right now? And I got that pit in my stomach when you feel that something's just not right. And all of a sudden I heard these clicks and clacks, and I followed the sound. It was coming from the kitchen. And I see my mom hunched over the kitchen table, which looked like an operating room, single light above. There's like electrical tape and little screwdrivers, and in like a dozen pieces, a little dismantled Tropicana orange radio. I know. I was like, Mom, are you okay? What happened? And she's like, oh, Ree, I'm fine. You know, the antenna was off and the tuner dial wasn't working, so I'm just fixing it. So I stood there watching her work her magic, and I finally asked the question that I'd always wanted to ask, which was this. Hey, Mom, how do you know how to do so many different things that you've never done before, but nobody's shown you how to do it? She put down her screwdriver and she like cocked her head to the side and gave me like that incredulous look, and she's like, what are you talking about? Nothing in life is that complicated, Ray. You can do anything you set your mind to. If you roll up your sleeves, you get in there and just do it. Everything is figureoutable. And as like a little kid, I was like, oh, everything is figureoutable. Everything. Holy shit, everything is figureoutable. And I did curse as a kid. I just want to let you guys know. That's how it rolled. So anyway, that little phrase just got rooted into my soul, and ever since it's been the single most powerful driving force of my life. It helped me get out of a toxic and abusive relationship when I was in high school. It helped me gain rare work study positions when I was in college. I was the first in my family to go to college. It helped me have every job I've ever had in my life, from being on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange to publishing with Condé Nast to selling glow sticks at mega clubs. I'm a hustler, y'all. Don't get it twisted. Bartending, waiting tables, teaching hip hop, doing fitness videos, becoming one of the world's first elite Nike athletes despite having no formal dance training. And then it's helped me get out of debt. It's helped me get out of just shitty relationships and save my most precious ones, often in record time. And it's what inspired me to really start making videos on my webcam, which later evolved into Marie TV and the business and all those good things. So it is really a phrase that I believe can help every single human on the planet, from the small stuff, like when your internet breaks and you're like, what do I do? To the big stuff in life, whether it's starting a business or transforming your health or your well-being, or even navigating the really tough truths that we all have to face. And sometimes that looks like trauma or addiction or a life-threatening or even a life-altering disease. Thank you.
And what do you say to people when they say, it's, maybe easier to say everything is figureoutable if, there's certain privileges or advantages? Oh, yeah. What do you say to people that are still skeptical of this
Absolutely.
idea?
So let's cover, so there's really like 3 main points of skepticism, and we'll go through all 3. So I just want to look out into the audience, and the lights can't help me. It's hard to see all you guys, but raise your hand if you're skeptical that everything is figureoutable. And it's totally cool if you are. I want honesty. Good. I think I see some. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So we're going to walk through all 3 points and then see if this idea can really, really help you with its intended purpose, which is to create positive change in your life and the lives around you. So first point is skepticism. When I was first starting to write the book, I was out to brunch with friends, and one of my friends brought her 10-year-old son. So we're sitting at the table, and they're like, Marie, what's the title of your book? What are you working on? And I said, oh, it's a book called Everything is Figureoutable. And the 10-year-old's like, no, it's not. I was like, oh, okay, no, it's not. All right. Well, why don't you tell me something that's not figureoutable? And he's like, well, we humans can't grow wings out of our back and fly away. And I was like, well, that is true at this moment, but you do know that we human beings can fly. And he was like, yeah, okay. But I can't bring my dog back from the dead. And I was thinking to myself, well, that's some Pet Cemetery shit right there. But I said, you know, scientists are working on cryogenics, and people have cloned their dogs. And he was like, oh, yeah. So conversations like that actually inspired me to create a set of rules around the figureoutable philosophy. And they act as like a mental container that really helps us get into this idea and use it in a positive way. And the rules are this. Rule number 1, all problems or dreams are figureoutable. Cool? Rule number 2, if a problem isn't figureoutable, it's not a problem, it's a fact of life. Like gravity, taxes, death, certain laws of nature. Yes? Rule number 3, you may not care enough to solve this particular problem or reach this particular dream, and that's okay. Find something you do care deeply about and go back to rule number 1. Yes, clap for the rules. I like the rules. So when I was doing research for the book, I love inspirational quotes, and I found this incredible quote by a quantum theorist named David Deutsch, who actually wrote a book called The Beginning of Infinity. It's a mind bender. I recommend it on audio because the written version is like, woo, you want to take a nap in like a minute. Anyway, he has a quote that goes like this: everything that is not forbidden by the laws of nature is achievable given the right knowledge. So that's kind of the first level of skepticism that we handle. Level number 2, I had a dear friend of mine actually say, Marie, the title is amazing. I love you. I respect your work. But come on, not everything is figureoutable. Are you really telling me addiction is figureoutable? And what about when someone is facing, death and loss and grief? Or what about a life-altering diagnosis? And I said, I hear you, but let me tell you a story. So when I first shared this idea on Oprah's Super Soul stage, after that got out into the universe, I started to get letters from people who had heard that talk. And one letter I got was from a woman named Jen. Here's what she said. She said, Marie, I really loved your Oprah talk. This is actually an idea that my mom has been trying to teach me my whole life. And we watched it together, and she loved it too. She said, but then everything changed. My beautiful mom, who's like my best friend, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And suddenly, nothing seemed figureoutable. But when I took a step back and looked more deeply at the situation, actually, it was. For example, I could figure out how to find nursing care for my mom who lived in a rural area. I could figure out how to find foods that she could actually tolerate. And this was the big one for her. I could figure out how to get medical equipment so my mom could spend her last days, and in fact, her last 5 weeks on the planet, in the place that she really wanted to be, which was her own home. So Jen said, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that yes, everything really is figureoutable. So thank you for sharing this simple little phrase that made a big difference to 2 women on the other side of the world. They live in New Zealand. Then the third level of skepticism. So people can say, Marie, yeah, everything is figureoutable for you, but what if I don't look like what you look like, or grew up where you grew up, or had the advantages that you grew up with? And here's what I say to that. As a white woman born in the United States of America, I am very well aware that I've won what Warren Buffett calls the ovarian lottery, meaning through no effort of my own. I was born in this country to a family that gave me a roof over my head, running water, electricity, healthcare, education, so many advantages that millions, if not billions of other people around the world do not have. So for anyone thinking that, this doesn't apply to me or you don't know what I'm going through, here's what I say. I respect you. I respect and appreciate our differences. Just the fact that you're here tonight tells me that you and I probably share a little bit of DNA in this fact that we're both students and seekers. And while I don't know the details or the history of your hardships, here's what I do know. Your power is immense, and your potential is limitless. And I believe that you already have everything it takes to transform or transcend any challenge you face, no matter who you are or no matter where you come from. So that's what I'm basing this whole philosophy on. And also in the book, there are dozens of stories from people that don't look like me, that didn't grow up where I grew up. And so those diverse and compelling stories build the case that we human beings have innate potential. And when we tap into it and we unleash it, anything is possible.
So let's back up a bit. You in your career, left your job in finance to work in magazines. So how does one leave their job in finance to work in magazines, end up on the stage, on Oprah's stage? Can you kind of tell me about that trajectory?
Oh my goodness, that was 20 years. So, I think the biggest clue for me was when I was on Wall Street, I was really grateful to have a job, like most of us are, right, when we get out of college. You're just so appreciative for that paycheck. And for me, I kept going to work every day, and there was this little voice inside, Joanna, that was like, this isn't who you're meant to be. This isn't what you're supposed to do. And that voice just kept getting louder and louder and louder until one day I had what I can only identify now as like a mini panic attack, where I had trouble breathing and I felt dizzy and I started feeling physically ill, to the point where I was like, I have to leave this job. And I remember telling my boss at the time, I was like, hey, I need to go grab a coffee. And this is at the time when the New York Stock Exchange didn't have like a cafeteria. It wasn't the modern version that it is right now. And I made a beeline for a church, because I went to Seton Hall University, which is a Catholic university, so I was kind of trained in a crisis to look up for help. And so I'm sitting on the steps of Trinity Church, bawling my eyes out because I just felt so horrible. I was so aware of the fact that I don't have a trust fund. My parents just busted their ass to put me through school, and here I am wanting to quit my job, yet I don't know what else to do. So I took out my flip phone and I called my dad and was just like apologizing to him, basically, because I felt like I was going to be such a disappointment, and I didn't want to disrespect him or my mother, who had worked so hard to put me through school. And I'm like, Dad, I can't take it. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be here anymore. And he broke in when I was doing the ugly cry, and he's like, Ree, calm down. He's like, you've been working since you're 9 years old. I'm not worried about you keeping a roof over your head or doing whatever you got to do to put food on the table. He goes, look, you're going to be working for the next 40 to 50 years. If you don't find something that you absolutely love to do, you're going to be miserable. This is not how your life is supposed to go. So quit this job, do whatever it takes to find something you love, no matter how long it takes. That's really the secret to a happy life. And in that moment, my dad gave me such a permission slip. It was like such a pivotal moment for me. And so I just started trying to piece together a way to make a living that also tapped into my strengths. And so the reason I went to magazine publishing was because all I knew about myself was that I was highly creative and that I also loved business. And I didn't like Wall Street. So the only thing that popped into my mind at the time, I was like, well, I really like magazines. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like grasping for clues here. Because does anyone agree our society at this moment doesn't do a really stellar job at preparing humans to understand how to function in the world, right? We're taught all of these subjects, but you get out of college, you're like, I don't fucking know what's going on. Like, you just don't know anything, and you struggle for a while. So eventually, after hitting into so many walls and trying so many different things and just failing and wanting to quit constantly, I felt like something was wrong with me. I felt like I was broken. I was like, maybe I have some kind of cognitive disorder. Nothing made sense. So I was at Mademoiselle magazine one day, and I was on the internet, and I stumbled upon this article about a new profession at the time. You guys, track with me here. This is 1999, okay? This is like pre-coaching is holy shit everywhere world. So this article was talking about coaching, and I'm not kidding you guys. I read that article, and it was like the clouds parted and little cherubs showed up, and they're like, oh, like that. Something in my heart lit up in such a big way, and I'd never recognized that feeling before. And even though the critical part of my mind was like, are you serious? Like, what's a life coach? You don't know what the hell you're doing. You're 23 years old. Who the hell's going to hire a 23-year-old life coach? You're mountains in debt. You can't even hold down a job. This is stupid. That's what one side of my brain was saying. And the other side was like, please do it, do it. So I signed up for a 3-year coach training program on the spot, continued with my Mademoiselle work during the day and did my coach training at night. And then about 6 months later, I got a call from the HR department of Condé Nast, and they had a promotion for me. So it was more money, it was more prestige, it was Vogue. So an opportunity to work at arguably what's one of the best fashion magazines in the world, or quit and do this weird ass life coaching thing that you have no idea how to do. No one's ever heard of it, and you don't even think it's serious. Naturally, I chose that path. So, I gave up the steady job, I gave up the steady paycheck because it honestly felt right in my bones, even though it made no sense to my rational, logical mind. And I went back to bartending and waiting tables to keep a roof over my head and to keep things going. So I worked all the nights, and I worked on my coaching business during the day. And I did that for about 7 years. So there was 7 years of side gigs before I felt confident enough emotionally and financially to go all in on my business. And I'm slicing out some pieces there, but that's how I got to the place where the audience started building. And then it wasn't until I think it was maybe 2012 when I first met Oprah. And then in 2016 when I gave the Super Soul Sessions talk. And now we're in 2019 where that book happened. Did I answer that good enough?
Yeah,
Was that
no,
okay?
That's great.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, it sounds also like, you're really in tune with kind of your physical, like you had like a physical reaction to this
Yes.
job, or, you saw the article and there was like a physical reaction.
Yes.
How can people what does that mean for people? Like and how can they tap into that? And
Yes.
and how do you kind of explain the difference between something that's fear and something that's your intuition?
Yes. So I think all of us are such intuitive creatures, but we're not taught about this. Like there's so much stuff. So as a little sidebar, and I'm going to answer all that, the whole reason I do what I do is because when I started discovering the world of personal development, self-development, the fact that we could actually change our brains, we could get better, we could be happier, I'm like, oh, why didn't anyone teach me this sooner? Like, this is the most awesome thing ever. And like, I'm from New Jersey, so I hear about the best pizza. I'm going to shout about that from the rooftops. I learned about personal development. Like, I need to talk about this for the rest of my life. This is so good. Anywho, back to intuition. So my mom taught me when I was little, I used to walk to school, right? And there's all those walking stories, because I've always been really independent. And my mom's like, no, I have to walk. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it on my own. She's like, look, I'm going to let you walk to school as long as you promise me this. If someone stops and they pull up by a car and you feel something inside and it doesn't feel right, you got to run. You got to scream, never get in that car. So she taught me from a very young age to pay attention to the fact that there was a small voice inside that would always keep me safe and always guide me to what was right and what was best. So I felt like I had that training. So by the time, Wall Street and the whole seeing that article, I was in tune with intuition and the fact that we all have innate wisdom in us that's striving to be the GPS for our life. And talking about the difference between fear and intuition. So this is one of my favorite things. So all of us, right, we come up against opportunities. Like, so maybe there's a new job, or there's a promotion, or there's a relationship, or some type of investment opportunity. And you don't know whether or not you should say yes because you feel scared. And so how do you make that distinction between healthy fear, which is something you need to go through and grow through in order to be more of who you are, versus your intuition that's trying to save your ass, right, from making a big, expensive mistake? So here's the test that I've taught people for years. I use it on myself all the time, and I've never had it be wrong. Here's how it goes. When you're considering an opportunity and you feel confused about whether it's fear or intuition, get really still in yourself. If you need to, close your eyes. I recommend not having technology anywhere near you. Again, you can do it standing or sitting down. When you close your eyes, you tend to go inside rather than looking outside. So you close your eyes, you take a nice deep breath, and you ask yourself this simple question. Does the idea of saying yes to this opportunity make me feel expansive or contracted? Now, in the nanosecond after you ask yourself that question, I promise you, your body will have a visceral response. There will be something that happens. So let's describe what expansive might feel like for you in your body. Expansive might be like a sense of joy, like your chest lifting up, or even your body ever so subtly moving forward. Maybe your chin lifts, or there's some type of little bubbly notion in your stomach. Even if you're afraid, even if it's something that terrifies you, there's something that moves forward in space. Does that track? Does that make sense? Yes. So contracted, on the other hand, it feels like dread in your belly, or your shoulders hunch forward, or if you had your eyes closed, perhaps your head gently shakes no, or your body physically moves back in space. Now, admittedly, these are very, very subtle physical sensations, and I'm not talking about your thoughts. I'm not talking about like a thought, I'm not good enough to do that, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too whatever. I'm talking about your physical sensations. So if you're someone like many people in society right now who spend 8 to 10 hours a day staring at a screen sitting down, and you don't do much physical movement, it's gonna be more challenging for you because you haven't tapped into this vessel in a while. But this thing has so much intelligence and so much guidance for you if you listen to it, which is one of the reasons why I love dance. So if you notice yourself feeling contracted, and here's what's interesting. Oftentimes we want to override that contracted feeling when our ego wants to say yes, because the opportunity on paper sounds so good. Oh my goodness, it's so much money. Everyone else would die for this opportunity, but something inside of you is saying, don't do it. Can anyone relate to that? Yes. And haven't you regretted it when you overrode that because your ego said, but it's going to make you look so good. It's going to get your ass in trouble. Yes? So that whole question, here's the question again. Close your eyes and ask, does the idea of saying yes to this opportunity make me feel expansive or contracted? And you practice enough and you will have your own intuition guide you to your highest and best life. I guarantee it.
And you mentioned also that, in 1999, like you said, when you started, things looked very differently.
Yes.
So how has the wellness industry changed? What is the landscape like? And how do you think you fit into that and your message?
Well, I think thankfully we're all talking about wellness like it wasn't a thing really in the late 90s. I don't think anyone was talking about what we put in our bodies as much as we're doing it today. I don't think there were any juicing places. There were certainly not nearly as many health coaches or wellness coaches or any of those things. So I think from that landscape and how much volume and how much education there is right now and how many people are excited about health and wellness, I think it's awesome. So in terms of how I fit into that landscape, I've never really thought about it, to be honest, Joanna. I'm one of those people that just has my head down, and I'm such like a nose to the grindstone kind of person doing the work. But here's what I do believe. I believe that the notion that everything is figureoutable, especially as it relates to our health and wellness and our well-being, can be such a useful phrase, because when you take care of your physical vessel as much as you possibly can, when you're fueling yourself with real food, right, not manufactured chemical bullshit, when you are actually understanding how to nurture your brain, how to meditate, how to take in really clean water and just take care of this thing so it operates like a beautiful, well-oiled machine, I think we all thrive better. I think we do better at work. I think we're nicer and kinder in our relationships. I think we dream bigger. So I think I play a tiny role in helping people feel empowered that they can figure out how to be their strongest, healthiest self, even though I don't necessarily play in that strict domain.
Mm-hmm. And then you also, in the book, how many people here have read the book already? Wow.
Not enough. Y'all got to get home and read. I know you got the book tonight for the first time, so I'm not going to yell too much at you.
In the book, you talk a lot about beliefs and how powerful they are for us and how you can change beliefs. So how can you change beliefs?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that all beliefs are a choice and choices can be changed. So every single thing that all of us believe right now is a choice, whether we recognize it or not. And I think one of the funnest ways to recognize that you can change your beliefs, like, did anyone believe in Santa Claus when you were little, right? And then you didn't. right? You were like absolutely sure that that dude was real. I was actually telling this story to my team. My parents were awesome. My mom used to rig up a set of bells on the roof. And so we would like be laying in bed until midnight. She's like, oh my God, I think I hear something. And we're like, oh, and she would go and run to the window and like pull on this string of bells. And like, I was so convinced that this guy was real. And then my dad would do this trick. And I know I'm getting off a little, but this is fun. So he would set up a video camera near the Christmas tree. And then I didn't know. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to see Santa. I'm going to see Santa. Like I'm watching the videotape. And then something shakes and the video cuts. And then there's presents underneath it. And the carrots half eaten and the milk spilled over. I was like, oh my God, it's magic. So the point is about beliefs though. Most of us, anyone in this room believed something years ago that you no longer believe now? Yes? Okay, awesome. So that means that if there is any belief in you right now that is causing you harm, that is causing you pain or causing you suffering or that you feel is holding you back, just know that you have the power to transform that belief. What's cool about beliefs, they're nothing more than thoughts that we think consistently and that we believe are certain and true. Right? That's it. There's no like thing happening in there. There's no bars that are holding it together. So if you can just be self-aware and recognize, oh, maybe there's another possibility, I think that's the beginning of kind of pulling that thread and then giving yourself an opportunity to change or transform that belief.
So it would be like first like noting the belief, kind of like, okay, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then how would somebody go about?
Well, okay, so let's look at a limiting belief. So one of them that I think a lot of people have is around money. Money is the root of all evil. Has anyone believed that or been taught that from time to time? Anyone? Right? It's a pretty common belief. But then if you're like, okay, well, that's a really shitty belief because that keeps me in the poorhouse. And then you go, I don't want to have that belief anymore. So let me start to scan what else could be true about money. What else could be true? Okay, well, if it's not the root of all evil, could it be the root of all good? Maybe. Again, we're not saying that that is the truth. Is it another possibility? Yes, it is. Could money be a force for good? Is that possible? Have you ever seen evidence of that? Yes. So wouldn't it be awesome if you're like, okay, crappy belief over here that makes me feel bad and limits my potential. Other belief over here that's way more useful and fun or exciting. Let's play in this world. So awareness is step one, recognizing that all beliefs are a choice and choices can be changed. And I believe when you change a belief, you change everything. Because beliefs are really the underpinning, right? You have a thought about money like, oh, she's rich, she thinks who she is, versus, wow, she's really powerful. Look at all the good she can do in the world. Where does that come from? Your belief about money and what that means. So all the thoughts that you have, all the actions that you take, all the behaviors in your life, they're actually rooted in beliefs. So it's oftentimes the first place we have to go if we want to change the landscape of anything.
And on your television show and podcast, Marie Forleo podcast, you also hear stories from people and give advice.
Yes.
So what are you listening to? What are you listening to in their story that can kind of help you give better advice to them?
Yeah, so I'm usually listening for a couple of things. So I use my intuition as a coach all the time because it guides my life, it guides all of my business decisions. And I'm usually listening for where someone is like holding back or hesitating, or they're talking about an idea and I ask another question, I poke further, and I see them come alive. So I remember talking to a particular woman and she was struggling because she had a professional career, but she had this dream to want to go and be an astronaut. And she never gave herself permission to do it. And I remember I was like, okay, so tell me right now, how does it feel when you think about staying in your career, the one that you have? And she's like, well, it feels pretty good. It's the responsible thing to do. And, you know, she's doing all this stuff and it was all from here. And I said, okay, just talk to me about what it would feel like to like go do this astronaut thing, even if it didn't work out for you, even if you didn't make it all the way into space. What was that feel like? Oh my God, it would be so exciting. Like you could just hear her come alive in a second. So I'm listening for clues of joy. I'm listening for clues of aliveness. I'm listening to hear also similar patterns that I've seen in myself that I feel like I can connect with and empathize with, and then share perhaps some guidance on how to navigate out of it.
Mm-hmm. And you say that perfection is a dream killer.
Oh my God. Any perfectionists in the room? Yes, come on. Oh my goodness. So perfectionism is a dream killer. It can also be deadly. We've got some research in the book. There's some scary stuff around perfectionism. So there was a study done on folks who had committed suicide, and when they interviewed their family and friends, I think it's nearly 50% of their family and friends said that person who took their own life was a perfectionist. Like, that's petrifying. It's petrifying. And I think in a less extreme case, it really stops us. You know, you're just working on that thing, you're polishing that thing, 5 years go by, you're still haven't done shit, you're still polishing it, right? It's terrible. So one of the ways around perfectionism is this simple mantra. I love mantras because I need to talk to myself and keep myself on track. This one works. Progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. Quickly, how many B schoolers are in the audience? Make some noise. Yes. So my B schoolers know this, right? Especially when it comes to business, we always focus on progress, not perfection. So what does that mean? Rather than asking yourself, did you get this right? Did you make this to the highest level? Did you learn anything? Did you take a step ahead today? Even if you took a step and it was the wrong step, but you learned something, that's still progress. And so if we just stay in this zone of constant growth, it's all a journey. Did we make any step forward today? It's a really great way to sidestep the pitfalls of perfectionism, which just keep us stuck. They keep us comparing ourselves to others and not producing any work. I will tell you guys this. This is one of the greatest gifts that this recent time has given me because I have a little bit of perspective now. I've been working so hard on this book, and then we did an event last Monday night in New York City. Some of you guys might have saw it on the Instagram. If you haven't, you need to go check it out. So yes. So here was my image for how I wanted to launch the book in New York. Imagine if a Beyonce concert and a TED Talk had a baby and then threw a block party. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what we did. But here's my point. It was one of the most creative, fulfilling things I've ever done in my life, and when I step back from it, I realized this. Any point in my career over the last 20 years, when I've been comparing myself to others or not feeling so good, it's because I wasn't following the hugeness of my own dreams. And perfectionism has to do with that. Have you ever noticed when you're being a perfectionist, you look at everyone else's shit a lot, right? And you're comparing yourself to them, and you're certainly not good, so you keep working at it and working at it. It's because you've lost touch with that intuitive voice of what you really want to do. So progress, not perfection, doing the actual work is a great way to sidestep it.
And we probably have time for one more question, and then we're going to open the floor to questions from the audience. So if anybody wants to ask a question, please line up. There should be 2 mics somewhere here. But
yeah, where are those mics? Let's see. Tell us where they are so we can point. Because you guys know how much I love some Q&A. We are going to slay some Q&A. Yes. That's like the best thing in the world. Where are the mics? Just so we know where they can line up, because people are going to feel like, I don't know where to go.
Oh, I think they're right here. Right here.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, this side and this side. So after this question, get ready to line yourselves up.
So also you speak a lot about people's unique gifts. And
yes.
For somebody, you know, that is working a job and they're like, okay, how can I understand what my unique gifts are? How can I figure this out?
Yes.
What kind of advice would you give them?
Okay, so a few lenses on this. One of the best ways to start to discover what your authentic passions are is not to actually look outside yourself. And it's not to try and figure out your passion in your head. And this is what I learned bartending. So I remember feeling so frustrated at times when I was bartending because I had such big dreams about the business I was trying to build and all these other things. And I was like so cranky pants at work, and then I would come home and I'd be exhausted and I wouldn't have any energy to devote to my coaching business. And I realized this, I was like, gosh, I can't be miserable all of these hours for like, you know, a 6 or 7 hour shift and then expect to come home and be like a bubbly, awesome ass, bomb ass life coach. Doesn't work that way, right? You're training yourself to be miserable. So I changed the game for myself. I said, you know, I'm going to show up bartending and be the best damn bartender I possibly can. I'm going to talk to people about my coaching practice. Back in the day, I would bring my little yellow legal pad. I would tell them about my newsletter and sign them up on the spot. Yes, I would, because I understand marketing, and marketing is awesome. Anyway, here was the point. It was about bringing passion to that bartending job. It was about making the best martini I possibly could, like serving the best meal. And when you bring passion to whatever you're doing right now, even if it seems mundane, even if it's brushing your teeth or making your bed or cleaning up your dog diarrhea, which I did last week, you actually train yourself to be passionate in life, and then you start to actually feel where your strengths are. It's almost like it comes from the inside out. You start to notice you're kind of in a groove. There's something that you're doing that you're like, wow, I'm really good at this. I didn't even realize I was good at this. Joy is an incredible transformative force, and it doesn't come from anything outside of you. It's not going to show up in the perfect job. It's definitely not going to show up in the perfect relationship. It's not outside of you. It is an inside job. So if you can make it a spiritual practice to bring as much joy and passion to everything that you do, your special gifts seem to rise to the surface. It's a weird alchemy that happens there. I see some heads nodding because you guys know this, right? When you bring that level of engagement to your life, stuff does start to show up. Another lens on it real fast, in terms of special gifts, what comes naturally to you and so easily to you that you're like, I could do this all day? And people are like, what? And you think that everyone else can do it, but no. You have the ability to do it like 24/7, and people are like, stop. That's one of your special gifts.
All right, well, if people want to start lining up, I just also want to hear about the glow stick story.
Oh.
So how did selling glow sticks happen, and what did you learn from that experience?
Oh my goodness. Okay, y'all. So this is like a little preview, probably what's coming down the line in a few years. So I make no bones about this. My B schoolers know this. I love money. I really do. I love money. I think money is awesome. And it stems from the fact that we didn't have much growing up, and I saw how much pain a lack of money caused. So I made myself a promise that when I grew up, I was going to earn enough money so money would never take away love again, and that I could help take care of other people. So that's where the drive comes from. So I just remember, having normal jobs in college where it was like an hourly wage. And I was like, this is some bullshit. I don't like it. No matter how hard I work, I still get the same paycheck. I didn't like it at all. So I was always looking for side gigs, things where I could do something and I could put in all of my energy and actually see a financial return that was commensurate with how much energy I was putting out. And my brother's girlfriend at the time was like, hey, I'm working at these clubs and I really need someone else to sell glow sticks. And I was like, I'm in. I am in. This sounds so fun. I love to dance. I love nightclubs, and I love making money. Let's do this, right? So she set me up, and I had a little backpack, and here was the deal. It was like, you guys don't know. I don't know if you know this. This is San Francisco. So back in New York, there was an old school club called the Tunnel. And yes, all right, for some of my people who know it. So it was just like a mega club. And I would show up with a backpack. I would start work at like 1:30 in the morning. Now I'm at sleep at like 10. Show up at work like 1:30 in the morning, and people would ask me for a glow stick, like I would be dancing with them, and they were $5. Now here's the deal. In those days, people were tripping on whatever they were tripping on, and I'd give them a glow stick for $5, and they'd give me a 20, and they're like, no, keep the change. I'm like, this is the best job ever. These margins are ridiculous. Like, earning like $100 at like my college job, and then I'm in the Tunnel, and I walk home with like $300 or $400 a night. I'm like, woo! I'm an entrepreneur. This is awesome. So that's how the glow stick thing happened. And honestly, it just fueled that truth in me that I wanted to work in an environment where the harder I worked, the more value I provided, because I danced my ass off too. I entertained them with those glow sticks. That I could earn as much as I want. So that's the glow stick story.
Gotcha.
And you know what's funny, you guys? I created pens for the New York City event that we did, and we had lighting. They actually glowed, and they looked exactly like glow sticks. I was like, this is crazy. It was awesome.
All right, well, let's start with questions. Maybe let's start over here.
Awesome.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, Marie.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Laura. So fun to hear you live. I've watched you on Marie TV for so long. I'm like, you're right
I'm real.
So cool.
Everyone's like, is she real? I'm real.
I know. I'm going to tell everyone. I was like, she's real. I saw her. Yeah. So I have a question for you, something I'm trying to figure out that I think you do so well. So for the last 6 years was a lot of like solopreneurship, and then my first 3 employees and my first 5, and now I've got this gorgeous, passionate team of 10. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm feeling so excited about stepping into that leadership role of having 10 versus 3 versus 1. And I've listened to a lot of interviews with you where you talk about you as a leader, you with your team doing like blackout weeks, or how they'll say like, this is my favorite dream job. And it's one of my biggest goals is like my team, I get to create something really special with us. And I'm just wondering what tips you'd have if you were to like go back in time when you first started leading your team. Like, these are the things I am doing so well as a leader with my internal culture and my team.
Yes. Okay. So I never think that I'm that good of a leader, just so you know, and definitely not when I started off. I think I was really shitty. But here's what I did well. So I really care about people. That's why I do what I do. And I think that my team, especially in those early days, felt that I cared about them as a human being, not just as the role that they were performing at that time. So we would have discussions about what was happening in their personal lives or their family lives. And I would take an interest in the other things that they were interested in. And they knew that I had their back. They knew that I was always going to be honest with them and that I wanted them, not just, they weren't working for me so that I could have all the success. I wanted us to collectively be a success. And I also really understand burnout is a real thing. And in a lot of corporate cultures, not that I'm corporate, but a lot of people just feel like they're a cog in a wheel. Yeah. They're not respected. They're not appreciated. No one is paying attention to what vacations look like or how often they're working. And in a digital landscape, it's really easy for people to feel pressured, especially these days, to be on 24/7, to be expected to work like all the weekends, all the time, to answer emails at every hour, text at every hour. Oh, that's exhausting. That leads to burnout. That leads to ill health. Talk about getting sick. So I think really communicating to your people, and obviously this has to be genuine, that you actually care about them. You remember their birthdays, their anniversaries. You make a big deal about when they win in their life. That creates a good culture.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Hi, I'm Lacey, and I was actually going to ask a very similar question to that. So I'm going to flip my question. First off, you look amazing.
Thank you.
You always do that dress.
Thank you. You guys, this is Zara. Zara is crushing it right now, and I'm so in love because it's so inexpensive. And I'm like, yes!
So just kind of on the fly, because I still want to ask you a question.
Yes.
In terms of company culture, actually, I'm building a business. My business partner's here with me. And our goal is we want to help companies craft values that are really in integrity with what they're trying to do, but then actually aligning the processes of what they do on a daily basis with those values. Okay. A lot of people state them, but then they're not the reality of that work experience. And that lack of integrity and misalignment, I think, is part of what causes burnout, morale issues, and things like that. So when you think of Team Forleo and what you've built, how do you make sure that not only do you have your intuition on point, but that the company does with your people?
Well, we have really open and transparent conversations. We all share similar values. It's actually part of our interview process. One of the things is like, we ask each other, like, would you want to hang out with this person and go like have hummus and chips or go have a glass of wine or go like sit over pizza or go to an amusement park together? Because that's the shit that we do in real life. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how qualified a person is, if the culture fit isn't right, if they don't have like a similar sense of humor, if they don't think my crazy ass is actually enjoyable and they think I'm too overwhelming or overbearing, it's not going to work. So I think that open and honest communication is really the key. And then I think you have to be able to openly and honestly communicate when something's not working, when there's a challenge, and not blame it on people, but say, hey, here's where something went off the rails. Let's all look at it together and let's fix the system that allowed this to happen so that it doesn't happen again. So in our company, we do something called stress logs. We did a Marie TV episode about this. You can Google it. It's really, really good. So when there's ever a stress in the company, you actually collectively write down what's known as a stress log, where you write down exactly what the stressing situation is, all the components around it, and then everybody gets a chance to look at it and deconstruct it and then solve for it, so that whether it's that department or that individual, that stress really no longer exists.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Marie.
Hi.
I'm Marina. I'm from Brazil, and I'm super excited to be here. I'm a big fan. And I would like to hear your wisdom. I'm a sexuality and women's empowerment coach in Brazil. And I really believe that pleasure is a means of building an ecology for women to thrive in their lives.
Yes.
Right? And what's happening is that many of my clients there in Brazil, they are facing a very hard time with the oppressions of our culture, the political situation that is going on there, economy, and many times they fail to believe that they can thrive, that they can create the environment for them to do that. And I'm just curious, as you have so much experience as a coach, what is your wisdom with people that are living in conditions that are not built for thriving?
Absolutely,
right? As
100%.
You approached it at the beginning, so.
Yeah, so this is what I think one of the great miracles of technology is. You know, technology has upsides and downsides, and so many of my dearest friends today, I actually made online. So many people that I'm connected with. And so I think that encouraging your clients, first of all, continuing to message that it is possible. You taking a stand for them and being certain and clear that it is possible for them to thrive, and holding that space is part number one. Then part number two is encouraging more sisterhood, and for them to create, even if it can't happen in their exact physical location, you can start to create support through technology, and that's what's awesome. So you can make friends, there can be weekly calls, there can be Skype calls or Zoom calls. Some of my closest people in my life, I don't live near them, and we're on Zoom calls or Skype calls or FaceTime all the time, and it feeds my soul. So I think it is absolutely possible, because once you start to build that level of confidence and there's that connection, that's when I think people do have the certainty in themselves that they can create change, and they have someone to go back to. So that's what I would encourage, for you to hold that space and that certainty and be unwavering in it, and then help create the connections around them, even if it's virtual.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Marie.
Hi.
Thank you so much. It's so cool to be in this moment right now.
I know. I love it too.
I'm so used to seeing you on the screen.
I know. It's like, she's real. Totally. I'm so with you.
You have great voice inflections, by the way. I'm like, just the phonetics of how you speak.
I'm in for these compliments right now, people. Okay. I'm just going to take it in. I'm going to take it in.
I have a really timely question. It's very relevant. I work at a restaurant about 100 feet away. In fact, I seated you, these beautiful sisters.
Yes.
The girl I sat next to, I seated you guys. Anyone who remembers me, you guys, restaurant shoes, they're the most comfortable. You should wear them out. And what's crazy is a year and a half ago, I'm 25, a year and a half ago when I was 24, I left my tech job, was having an existential crisis quite often, which really resonates with what you said. And I entered life coach certification. This is before I knew who you were. And all these people would, like messengers, would flock and be like, are you like female Tony Robbins? You should look up Marie Forleo. And I was like, okay. Like I would always just look up these people that they recommended I talk to. So I'm at this point now where I'm loving coaching and I'm working at this restaurant. And a part of me is just like, now at this, I don't know if it's my ego or not, it's like I'm ready to leave. Like I have so much more to give. But at the same time, it's like you said, you did it for 7 years. So my question is, how do you know when it's time to let go of the restaurant job?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
So this is going to be an individual response, because there's a lot of people that may not be in your specific situation, but they're in a similar situation of how do you know when to take the leap to that big next thing? It's like that chasm, right? It's a leap of faith. So there's 2 levels to it. One, financial. Because I'm big about the money. You have to understand not only your own financial situation, but more importantly, your risk averseness. So
I'm risk inclined.
You're risk inclined. So you might be more apt to go like, whoo, burn that bridge behind. I'm ready to go. So you might be ready to go.
Okay.
I was the one who's more risk averse. So that's why I wanted to build up all that confidence, build up that financial cushion, and really be clear that I could support myself, because I needed that in order to thrive. But if you're more risk inclined, you might be right at the cusp. I would suggest for you to just do some financial projections to make sure that you're going to be okay and that it's a smart, wise decision.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you just have to trust. It feels like if it's not immediate for you, you're probably within the 6-month range from looking at you.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. You guys should come visit me in the next month. Okay?
But yes, and then if
Okay.
you're gonna hear that little voice inside, and you're gonna probably feel petrified, like most of us do, right, when we make that big leap of faith. And then you're gonna do it. And here's what's awesome. In the book, we talk about Fear Taming 101. It's a great chapter. And what it helps you do is really assess your fears so that you can dive into any situation that seems a little bit scary and understand exactly how you will bounce back if you fall on your face. And I've fallen on my face tons of times. It ain't a big deal. I'm gonna do it more. I hope to do it lots more times before I leave planet Earth. So you got this. You're in the 6-month range. Trust inside, and then take
If
the
you want to
fucking
come to
leap.
the restaurant after, VIP table for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, my love. Thank you so much.
It's called Rad House. It's actually a great restaurant.
Hi, Marie. I'm Jolynn, and I loved your book. I just finished listening to it on tape yesterday, and I started it again today.
Oh, I love you. I'm going to say this because you actually just prompted me. You guys, if you read the book and actually love it, please go leave a review on Amazon. Yeah? If you don't love it, don't leave a shitty review, okay? Just do what your mom said. Like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. But if you love it, leave a review. Please keep going.
So there are so many things in it that I would like to ask questions about, but I've done a lot of work. I have a wonderful life, full of love and joy, and finally found my passion, and I'm doing it, and I'm having a great time, and yes, excited and blessed. So in reading your book, though, I'm going to cry now, sorry.
It's okay. Emotions are good. Are emotions okay here, people? Yes. It's part of being human. You just keep breathing and talking.
I have a negative belief that I don't know how to shake, and I really loved reading your book about it, and I've been, trying to work on it this week, and I just can't get a handle on it. And that belief is that I've always been fat, and I will always be fat, and there's just no hope. And I've tried every diet, and I've done therapy and groups, and read every book and everything, and I lose weight, and then I gain it back and more, and then I lose weight, and I gain it back and more. And so I have 40 years of experience that tells me that that belief is true. And intellectually, I don't believe that belief is true. I believe it's what I was taught about myself, but I can't seem to shake it. How do I change this deeply ingrained belief?
Okay, so a couple things. One, when I look at you right now, I don't see a woman who is fat. I see a woman who is fucking gorgeous and beautiful. I'm not kidding, because you know why? This isn't bullshit. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Let me tell you why. Because you said to me, did you hear this? I have love in my life. I have joy in my life. Yeah. I have my passion. Did you hear all those things?
Yeah.
You are a blessed and beautiful woman. I'm going to invite you. You're going to write to Team Forleo so we can give you some more resources that we don't have time for right now. But I will tell you, if you can start with the belief that right now, I am a beautiful, brilliant woman, I guarantee you, these ideas, first of all, we have some fucked up notions in our culture about beauty. And I can almost guarantee that part of what's in there is an idea about how you should look and who you should be in order to meet some ideal that's bullshit. Yes? Yes?
But I also have diabetes, and
okay, we can handle that. We can handle that. But that's separate.
Okay.
It's very, very separate.
Yeah.
I worked with my dad who had diabetes, and he almost died. His kidneys failed. And we got him on a whole regimen, but there's the other things happening that I'm tapping into right now that are separate than you getting on a different eating and wellness plan. Are you guys with me on this? You can have both. You can have both. So you're going to write to us. We're going to give you some resources, but it's about accepting that you are this beautiful, brilliant woman right now, and we're going to just shift some things around your eating so we can take care of your health, but not try and meet some bullshit beauty standard. Cool?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Hi, I'm Deborah, here's my little story. When my daughter graduated from high school, she asked me, how do I learn about money? Yeah, and I texted 50 women I just went down the line and asked them, how would you teach your daughter about money? And they all said, I don't know, when you figure it out, let me know. 50, okay? So, what do you think? What should... When am I going to tell them? They all know I'm here.
Oh, my goodness. I'll just give you a reading list.
Okay.
I'll give you a reading list. I'll tell you. So when I was trying to get my money life together, the first book that I was introduced to was a gentleman named David Bach, and it was Smart Women Finish Rich.
Okay.
David has since become a dear friend of mine. His book really helped me understand so much about money, and it helped me turn around my financial life. So David Bach's books, again, there's lots of people out there. I'm just telling you what worked for me.
Yeah.
Was Smart Women Finish Rich.
Okay.
And they just did a recent updated version just at the top of this year, 2019. He updated it.
And can these women be 18 years old?
Abso-friggin-lutely. I think they should start. I don't get me on my high horse about this stuff because I really want to go in for that industry because I can't stand it. Meaning the fact that so many of us are in debt, so many of us have so many conflicting ideas about money. We're just fed all of these lies. Society encourages us to spend way more than we make. Credit card. Just again, I don't want to go in on that right now. I want to get your daughter some books. So Smart Women Finish Rich is another one. He also just came out with The Latte Factor. Again, I love David because I know his work really well.
Okay.
But if you write to us, we'll give you some of the Marie TV episodes that you guys can watch. You should watch it with your daughter.
Okay.
And then have regular money conversations with her. Ask her about her financial goals. What does money mean to you? What do you think about money? The more that we talk about it and understand some of the myths and some of the conflicting notions, oh, I don't think I should want some, but I really want some. And does that make me greedy? And oh, but I want more of it. You're going to help your daughter understand not only how to practically handle money, but how to really love it so that she can use it, what I believe it's meant for, as a force for good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Hi, Marie.
Hi.
My name is Adeline. I'm originally from Canada, and honestly, this is such an honor. You just have brought such a light in my life that I needed. Sorry.
No, it's good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Emotions are good, you guys. They mean we're alive. We're going to be powder in 100 years, and we're not going to be able to cry anymore, so let's do it now. It's a good thing.
You made a comment earlier about being this tiny role in helping others, and to me, you've just been the biggest. And I just want to let you know and just say thank you while I have this short moment. But I just wanted to say that my question is, I've come through a lot of emotional pain in my life, and I'm kind of at the point where I'm healing and I'm trying to move forward and have progression. And I'm at the point where I really want to help people in a place where I used to be.
Sure.
I know I still have a long path ahead of
all of us
given,
do. We're
right?
all a work in progress. It's okay.
But I feel like I'm at a point where I'm a little stuck, and I hate that phase, where I want to help and I want to be in the coaching business because I just feel that calling so profoundly. I describe it as a blue bubbling fire inside my body. That's the visual I get. But I'm kind of at the point where I think, okay, I would love some official training. I feel I have a strong intuition, but when it comes to certain things...
Yeah, you want to build up your skill set.
Yeah.
And so what's your cue? Tell me your cue.
So how do I decide? I've been researching coaching, training, and I'm just kind of
You don't know which one's good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what I would recommend. So I went to a place called Coach University. Again, it was the first way back in the day. I loved it. It was incredible. Now there are so many more institutes. So a couple things that I would do, very tactical. I would ask for a list of references, their top 10 grads, and see if you can contact them and talk to them about their experience.
From Coach?
So the coaching institutes.
Okay.
So wherever the training institutes that you're considering, see if you can get in touch with some of the grads and ask them point blank about their experience. Then I would also look in yourself and ask yourself, what are the kind of skills you want to learn, and does that match up with their curriculum? The style of learning. Mm-hmm. I know a dear friend of mine, she went to a particular coach training institute where it was all in person and they would have to go for these long weekends, where other things are more virtual. There's some individual work and some group work. So I think it's about you getting really clear on how you learn best and what sounds exciting and fulfilling and challenging for you, doing your research, making some lists, and then trusting your heart and going for it. You're not stuck. Okay. You're just mid-process.
Okay.
Really.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
You're just the cutest. I love you so much.
Oh, I love you too.
Big kudos. I feel like you're just always yourself, and in a world where everyone's trying to be other people, sometimes it's just so refreshing for you to be quirky and yourself and fun, and I love it so much.
Can I tell you? Thank you. Oh my God, I love you guys. I was so nervous. I literally asked Scribd backstage. I was like, do you guys, is somebody going to get mad at me because I might drop an F-bomb or two? And they're like, no, it's fine. I was like, thank God.
I'm from Jersey. Can't do an accent, but you know. So one of my favorite parts about you is you use the word a multi-passionate entrepreneur. You like many things. 2 years ago, I left my hometown of Chicago on a whim, left my job, moved to Colombia. All of a sudden, I fell in love with all these things: salsa dancing, Spanish, Latin men.
I was just going to say, I was like, did I not hear? I thought I was going to hear a Latin man in there. Okay, good.
But also, people started coming to me being like, I want to do that too, right? Like, how can you teach me how to leave everything behind and all this stuff? So now that's a little bit of coaching. So I find myself loving all these things, getting beautiful gut reactions to all of them, but having trouble knowing where to niche down and how to monetize one of those passions, because that's what's important. So any advice around how to do that?
Absolutely. So most of us try and make money from all of our passions, and most of the time that's a bad idea. So you can be a multi-passionate creative. So let me put this in context. You know, there was a point in my career where I was bartending, waiting tables, teaching dance and fitness, and had my coaching practice. I also, you know, didn't have a stepson or Josh at the time, or a dog or a mortgage. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was a particular time in my life. I could work 24/7 because that was reality. You know, when you're at a different season in life, that might not make as much sense, nor it might not be a match with your energy. So you have to get both practical and you have to tap into both the practicalities of life and then the joy. So
I
for
have no
example,
kids or dogs, so 24 hours.
Boom. This is awesome. So not that kids aren't great or dogs aren't great, but there's a lot of freedom right there. That's great.
I'm also in fertility though. So
Yes. So take a look at the things that you're considering building a career around and really ask yourself if you could do this for the long, like, do you envision yourself doing this for the next 5 or 10 or 15 years? I'll give you a quick story real fast. So by the way, I just see the clock. Oh, we're good. Never mind. I'm paying attention because I want to honor everyone's time. When I was considering whether or not I should continue in my dance and fitness career or focus solely on the coaching practice, here's one of the things I did. I tried on my future just like you try on a dress in Zara. I thought to myself, given the financial goals that I have for myself, given the impact that I want to have in the world, what would it look like if I went full in the fitness and dance world? And I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm not going to become financially free teaching classes individually, right? I was like, I'd probably have to do like a Thigh Master, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd have to sell something on an infomercial to like reach the kind of heights that I dreamed of for myself. And then I also imagined myself making a living purely off of my physical body. And I was like, okay, how is that going to feel for me maybe when I'm in my 70s? Like, can I envision myself? And I just tried to try it on, and it didn't feel right to me. And then when I thought about the world of coaching and teaching and using my mind and my heart and my body and like using everything together and tried on that future and thought about myself continuing to work into like my 80s or 90s, I was like, ooh, that's exciting. Like, everything in me kind of lit up. And then from a financial perspective, I was like, oh, I saw all kinds of possibilities that aligned with my ambition. So I would encourage you to do some hardcore research on the different areas. And so it's going to be a little bit of like external reality checks in terms of market understanding and possibilities, and then also internal checks. Not everything can be figured out on paper, and you can't really know this, but it is a bit of a dance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So that's what I encourage you to do, and don't try and make money off of everything. You can maybe do it for a little while just to experiment to see like where your flow is, but I wouldn't recommend that over an extended period of time because it's not sustainable.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Hi, my name's Alexa. I'm a B-schooler.
Yes!
First of all, thank you for the work that you do, really. It means a lot. I'm not going to cry.
I love that she declared that. I love she was like, I'm not doing it.
I'm not gonna cry. I'll probably cry. I believe emotion is power. But so my question is, so I've gone through the first 4 modules of B-school, like 50,000 times. And I think I'm having a hard time figuring out, like, my passion is I'm inspired by the stories of women entrepreneurs of the past. And I have absolutely no idea how to monetize that, but I just, like, oh God, I'm gonna cry. Can you help me, like, change my perspective when I go into B school? Like, how am I looking at it wrong, or how can I change it so that I can actually go all the way through?
Absolutely. Well, also, I want to encourage you to reach out to us on Team Forleo, because we're here to help guide you, and our B school mentor coaches too, like Sally, our community manager. So I will, yes, she's amazing.
Is she here?
I don't think Sally's here. Sally was in New York and she was a rock star. So that's off to the side. In B School, you have access to something called Start the Right Business.
I've done it like 10 times.
I know, but you haven't chosen a business model yet.
So I should choose a business model first?
Yes. Well, it's around the actual exercises, and this is why it's hard to get granular. Like, I'm going to need to work, our team's going to need to work with you offline because there's so much in that program about aligning what you really want to do with understanding how it serves a need that other people are willing to pay for.
Okay.
And that's so much of Start the Right Business.
Okay.
There's
I'll
all
reach
the,
out.
yeah, please reach out. But here's the other thing I want to tell you that's outside of the B School stuff. If you are compelled and inspired about women's stories, women entrepreneur stories that are historical, you need to start doing that even if you don't make money. Like, you need to find a way to express that, because when you're in your joy and you're expressing something that you really believe in, all kinds of new creative channels open up, and you'll probably see a possibility that you couldn't have seen. How are you making money right now?
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, no,
I'm
that's
actually not.
Okay, so you're wanting to start a business.
Yeah, I need to get out of the house.
You need to get out. Okay, great.
No, I was an entrepreneur. I started my first business in 2009. It was a brick and mortar, and I thought it was just a phase. I sold it as soon as I got pregnant.
Yes.
And then I realized, no, I'm an entrepreneur. It's in my DNA. I love it. So I need a business, and I want to do something that I'm passionate about.
Yes.
And it's women entrepreneurs. Like, their stories, like, really just light me up.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're going to help you out. Will you write to us and make sure you said, hey, Marie and I talked on stage in San Francisco?
Okay.
We're going to help you crack this code. I promise you.
Thank you.
You got it.
Hi, Marie.
Hi.
I'm Nozipo. I actually already know you.
Yes.
Yes, the program.
Yes.
Yes. So I want to ask you a question, but really quickly, I actually wanted to address the lady that spoke about the weight struggle. So I've struggled with it for 32 years myself, so trust me, I know how you feel. What I did recently is I became an alternative energy healing practitioner, and the method that I use has been exceptionally helpful to me. So I might be able to help you if you're interested. Just wanted to let you know that.
Yes, connecting after this. I like it, I like it, I like it. Beautiful.
So you talked earlier about having fallen flat on your face a gazillion times. So do you remember the first time you fell flat on your face? And if so, what did you do about it? How did you handle it?
Yes. Okay. I don't know if it was the first time, but it was a fun one where it was a total Missy Elliott dance audition fail. Like, bad. So quickly, but it led to something good, but not until years later. So I remember when I was first in my dance career and I was like trying to set traditional dancer goals, I was like, okay, I'm just starting to go to BDC, and you guys got to realize I didn't start dancing until I was 25. Like, I'd always done the moonwalk and I was always shaking my ass, always, but no formal dance training and not really getting into classes until I was 25. And so once I started realizing that this could be a thing, I started going to Broadway Dance Center and going like, oh my goodness, I'm like trying to look at everyone else to see what they're doing, and all they were doing was going on auditions. I was like, oh, I guess I should go on auditions. But my one thing was, first of all, I didn't have formal training, and I'm very slow at picking up choreography. Not anymore, but especially when I started. So I love Missy Elliott. I heard she'd come to town. She was working on casting a new music video. I was like, oh my God, this is my big chance, you guys. So I had the shittiest headshot, the sparsest resume. I get up off the subway, and there's like this huge line in Hell's Kitchen. Dancers around the corner. I mean, snaked around the block. And they're all freestyling, and you just like looking so cool. And I was like the biggest dork. I had the hugest knot in my stomach, and I was terrified. I eventually made it up to the audition room. I handed in, my little headshot, and there's probably like 8 to 10 of us in the room, and the choreographer started teaching choreography because that's what you do on an audition. I couldn't pick it up. And before I knew it, they were like 5, 6, 7, 8, and it was my worst dance nightmare coming true, where everyone was moving in one direction. I didn't know what the hell was going on, and it was so bad, y'all, that I literally, talk about crying, I started crying in the room, and I ran out of the room crying. And I walked down the street, and do you ever have like one of those mortifying situations in your life where you're almost stunned? You're like a zombie. Like, I'm walking down 8th Avenue in New York City, it was a mess. And I was like, you're too old. How could you think you could ever do this? Again, 25 in the dance world is old. That's a really sad thing to say, but it is if you haven't been training since you were out of the womb. Anywho, that fail made me reassess what my goals were. And the truth was, I loved my coaching practice. Josh and I were first getting together. In reality, going on tour or going on music videos, that didn't fit with my life right there. And I said, well, where am I finding so much joy? And the truth was, in my dance fitness classes. I loved that environment. There was not a competitive element. Every time I showed up, it was all about fun. There was people of every age, of every size. You know what I mean? It was cool. I was into it. So I focused all of my energy there, and I really built up my classes there. And then a few years later, this opportunity came along to become one of the world's first ever Nike Elite dance athletes. And they were looking for people who specifically had a talent in dance, but also could lead classes and had experience in fitness. And if I didn't reassess, if I didn't have that Missy Elliott fail and redirect my energy, I would have never had that experience, which led to so many other things. And get this, y'all. When I was telling you about that little imagine a Beyonce concert and a TED Talk, had a baby, then threw a party, do you want to know who some of my backup dancers were? People who dance for Missy Elliott. I'm not shitting you. We were laughing so hard. So our failures, I think in general, failure is an extremely short-sighted concept, right? It's like going to a movie and you're all excited and you're eating your popcorn, and then midway through the movie, the main characters hit a point of conflict and your ass gets up and walks out and goes, they're failures. You don't know because you didn't stick around to see the rest of the movie. And that's just like our lives. Could you imagine if I just declared when I had that Missy Elliott total fail, like, oh, I should never do anything like this again. I should just abandon everything. I would have never had my little concert the other night. So, was that helpful?
Very.
Awesome. Thank you. Great question. Does this mean we have 9 left?
Yeah.
Or we're over?
Well,
I know.
1 or 2
I remember
more
what they
questions.
told us.
Yes.
About 9. Exactly. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, good. We're almost there. I think we can do it. Okay, lightning round. Go.
This is really loud. I'm Anika, and I have a question about the beginning part of your career.
Yes.
So why did you decide to quit the corporate job at Vogue and do all like the quote unquote odd jobs of like waitressing and bartending and the glow sticks and all of that?
Yes.
Why'd you not have a corporate job, like a corporate 9-to-5, and decide to do the other jobs instead?
I had tried so many corporate jobs and I was so miserable that I couldn't take it anymore. And I knew I wanted to build this coaching business and I needed to have flexibility in order to do that. So I was happy to string together all of these odd jobs in order to pay my rent and to, just make things happen. That was the way that I could build a business. And I needed the days free because I needed to train myself in terms of public speaking. I needed to be free to coach clients, even if for free. And I couldn't have done that if I had another 9-to-5.
Okay.
Need that flexibility. You got it. Hi.
Hi. I love you, Marie.
Oh, I love you too. You've just given so much love from the front row. Thank you so much. Your energy is incredible.
Thank you. I'm a B schooler by way of scholarship, so
yes,
thank you so much for
you are
that.
so welcome.
Thank you.
I love our scholarship program. Yes.
Okay, so my question, I'm an artist. We spoke on the phone, and you said basically just to express yourself. You just got to do you. Continue to do you.
You
and
do.
Let that guide you. And I've been doing that, and I got a job. I just feel so much better. My life has gotten a lot better, but when I sing, there's like no other feeling like that. And I have all these other ideas because I love money and I want more money.
Yes.
And I want...
It doesn't feel good to say that out loud and like no one's gonna, just, Yeah. Yes, it's awesome.
I want money and income and well-being to come from my art.
Yes.
And I believe that it's figureoutable.
Yes.
But I do need some guidance because there's the job, there's the singing, there's the social media, there's the not having a team.
Yes.
There's the lack of funds to help support getting ads and doing music at the same time, and just self-development.
Sure.
So
simplify to amplify. You can probably look at your whole list of things that you think you need to do, and this might be a great exercise to do with a fellow B schooler, like someone who you trust or someone in your life who's a friend that you trust and who you know intuitively they got their shit together. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. None of us all have it all together. That's a myth. But you know how you have those friends where they're like, gosh, they're clear thinkers and they have your best interest in mind and they can kind of look at stuff, throw spaghetti at the wall with you and help you find your truth. They're not imposing their truth on top of you. You got a friend like that?
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
I would brainstorm with them and say, okay, here's like the 15 things I think I should be doing. I should probably only be doing 3 of these things. So intuitively, when I'm listening to you, the making of the music and the expressing of the music and the singing, like that needs to be very high up on the list. The ads, screw that shit.
Yeah.
Team, you don't need it right now. Social media, most of it's shit. But unless you're going to put your singing on there, right?
Yeah.
That's a good use of it. But I think it's about simplifying to amplify for you specifically, and imagining yourself 10 or 15 years in the future, and how, like, what do you need to hone in on now to be the best in the world at what you want to do? Practice that every day.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're so welcome. We're going to do it. You guys are, so I think, okay, so we're going to do, so I want to honor the time, and I have to honor my host because they're like, okay, we got to wrap it up we basically have 5 more minutes, so we're going to go super fast.
This is really quick.
Yep.
So I'm a B schooler. I did it 4 years ago when I first started my business. And this is a very different kind of question that maybe is really awkward to ask, but I don't know. I'm a jewelry designer.
Yep.
I love your style, and I want to send you a piece of jewelry, and I'm wondering if I can do that.
Oh, you can talk with Team Forleo. They'll hook you up later.
Send an email?
info@marieforleo.com.
Okay, I will.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Easy peasy.
You're awesome.
Thank you. Okay, so yes. So how are we, actually, where's my friends from Scribd? I need some of my Scribd people, because here's what I want to do. I want to honor you guys, but I don't understand the parameters of if we're like, oh my God, here, just come talk to me. Do we have to get out by 9? I want to answer everyone's questions that are right here so that we don't leave anyone hanging.
All right, so if you're already in line, we're going to try to get to you, and if you're not in line, hang tight.
Okay, awesome. Go for it.
I'm Laura. Thank you so much, Marie. I think you kind of answered this question, but I have 2 young kids. I have 1 day a week that I can work. I have a dream of publishing books that have a mindfulness theme for children, and I just get lost in, like, do I do social media? Do I do the website?
No, you write the
I've been
books.
trying to do B-School forever. I have
That's
like 2 years.
Okay, so my friend Glennon Doyle, do you guys know Glennon? Yeah, she's amazing. I love her. Like, she has children. She's got a very busy life. One of her fixes is to get up early and just carve out this little bit of time for writing every single morning. Like, she used to write in the closet at like 4:30 a.m. before the kids got up.
Yeah.
And for you, that's the most important thing you need to do. Don't worry about social right now. If you want to publish children's books, it's like, write those stories.
Okay.
And the actual craft itself is really, really important. Have you written and published a children's book yet?
I've written them, they've been edited, but what I hear from the publishing houses is you have to have an online presence.
You have to have that platform.
Yeah, so
Okay.
then I get lost.
Then you get
How do
lost.
I get-
And are you enrolled in B-School?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
And
great.
the copy here.
Oh, we can help you. This is easy. Just write to us.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously. We got you. You already got all the tools.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Okay, I'm going to make this quick. I just have to say, first, you've gotten me through so much. I found you in 2014, and you've helped me get through some times that, like, I had no idea what the F-U-C-K I was doing in my life.
Yes.
So, like you, I was a dancer, and then I graduated from college, HR manager, and then I quit to become a bartender waitress. And then I recently became a real estate agent, and I'm super happy, and I actually owe that a lot to you. So here's my question. This has to do with, like, relationships and opportunity, and I take notes. I have my journal. So you said earlier, does the idea of saying yes to this opportunity make you feel expansive or contractive? And for me, this is my relationship, my marriage. I've been in my relationship for 22 years, married for 11, and I'm, like, at that point in my relationship and age where I feel like this.
Yes.
Right? But there's a lot at stake, and
I have your answer.
Can I finish? I have this all written out.
Go for it.
Okay, I said, so even though I feel contractive, I don't see myself leaving. How do I move forward leaving that uncertainty and lack of trust in the final result? I feel like it has to do with my age, self-confidence, FOMO, and forgiveness.
Okay. I still have your same answer.
Okay.
So
I'm like,
you need to go do the work of Harville Hendricks and Helen LaKelly Hunt. It's called Getting the Love You Want. It is simply transformative. Anyone in this room who has a relationship that you actually want to survive and thrive, you need to do this work. So the book is called Getting the Love You Want. They're in their 80s right now. I would highly suggest you study with them while they're still here because they are brilliant.
They have a workshop coming up.
See? I'm telling you.
I feel like I'm dwelling on the fact that I got in this relationship so young.
Don't worry. No. All this is like, just, can you trust me? If you trusted me, because I helped you get out of stuff since 2014 and we've never actually talked, please trust me for the love of all things holy right now. I guarantee you, if you don't worry all this stuff, just go do that work. You will find your clarity and you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt from the depths of your soul whether this thing should continue and it will be hotter and fresher and deeper than ever before, or if it's time to part and go on a new adventure. But you will have such total certainty. Please trust me on this.
I will.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Love you too.
Hi, Marie. My name is Lady Beth. First, I want to thank you because I started practicing and learning English on watching your videos.
Yes!
So, I'm from Puerto Rico. I speak Spanish. That's my first language. I moved here 2 years ago, so I'm working with people that speak, more English. So I don't know in what language I should start my online business. Like, I have all my friends, all my colleagues, family, everything in Puerto Rico that speaks Spanish, and they've been watching my videos and everything. But at the same time, I have a lot of clients here that speak English, and I don't know what language I should pick to start and then maybe move to the next language.
Yes. Which one feels more fun?
Spanish.
Do it.
Okay.
Seriously, because you can, if it feels more fun, you're going to have more momentum. You're going to want to do it. You'll get traction faster. Then you're going to have more resources if you want to go bilingual. Do you know what I mean? To be able to tie everything together. Fun is so underrated. People don't have enough of it. You need to follow the fun. Yes?
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Go for it, my love.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Hi.
I just had my first child, 6-month-old baby girl.
Congratulations.
His mama's first night out is coming to see you.
Yes.
So I am hormonal and I might cry. So ever since I had her, there's just this real clear awareness. All the shit we've inherited, all the things happening in the world, we don't think someone else is coming to save us. We're it. It's not our parents or our grandparents. And I've never been one to stifle my dreams. There's hugeness of dreams, but there's a lot of shit happening on the planet. And the urgency, I think that's that mama bear, which is a force of nature, the urgency to not clean it all up, but do something and try to steer the course for the better. And I have my own business, but part of me is like, where do I begin? And is it really possible to turn this around?
Is that your question?
Yeah.
Yes. It's a yes to everything. Is it possible to turn things around? Absolutely. We human beings are unbelievably resourceful. We're miracles. We just have to aim all that energy and direction in positive ways. So that for sure. Where do you start? Exactly where you are.
Okay.
So whatever you are passionate about, whatever singular cause or organization, or even showing up in the grocery store and spreading more love and kindness to people who really need it. There's over 300 million people in the world right now who suffer from depression. Suicide rates are at a 30-year high here in the United States. So a lot of people are in pain, and you can be a beacon of light everywhere you go. And if you don't think that's healing, it absolutely is. So when it comes to actually making more societal changes, again, you might be passionate about education or the environment or, yeah. So there you go. So then find an organization to partner with or find some way, there you go, to contribute and start there. Don't worry about saving everyone. Just focus on changing one life at a time, and you gain that momentum, and pretty soon it's unstoppable.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Pamela. So nice to finally see you in person. I'm 35. I'm a mommy of 2. I've been, gosh, you really do start to cry when I've been watching you since I've been in my mid-20s. I've always felt lost. I'm always like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur. I've been an admin assistant since right out of college. And I keep trying to do stuff. I'm like, oh, I'll do Etsy, or, I'll do drop shipping. I'm just like, gosh, why is this always just like fudging me over? And so anyways, as years go by, I always feel like crap, MarieForleo.com. What has she got to say for me, this time? And so I'm like, you know what, I want to empower women. I want women to feel great. And so, like, this is the way I'm expressing it, is like, that's how I am inside. And anytime, like, my friends or my sisters ask me for advice, I'm like, oh, you know what Marie Forleo said? Or, you know what, like, so-and-so said, or another blogger, this and that. And I would love to just, share, like, this is what Marie Forleo said, or this is what another blogger said. But it's like, if I want to empower women, or if, like, I want to be this life coach, like, I don't even have my shit together. I'm an admin assistant. Why would anyone even want to listen to me?
Well, okay, a couple things. There's a lot there. You're amazing. And I don't want anyone, so I need to make something really clear. Being an entrepreneur is not better than not being an entrepreneur. Do you know what I mean? Like Team Forleo, technically I'm the CEO. They run shit. They are, like, I worship them. Even though we don't have the same titles, it's like, you don't need to be an entrepreneur in order to be a superstar in your life. Just know that. I'm not trying to have you not be one. I just want to set that stage. Does that make sense? Yeah. 2, you are so hard on yourself. So hard on yourself. You're a loving, accomplished woman. You're the mother of 2 beautiful babies. The more that you can be kind to you and just stop pressuring yourself to live up to some expectation that society has set, things are going to shift for you, really. And actually, if you could practice, are you still an admin assistant?
Yes.
Okay. Here's how I just want you to experiment. Experiment for the next 14 days, showing up to do your admin assistant work like you're a fucking rock star admin assistant. Like, you own shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to walk in there and be like, I am the best admin assistant that this world has ever seen. Watch out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But, like, really owning it. Like, you're going to see things that should be done and you're going to take care of it. Like, I need you to be the boss of being the best admin assistant possible for at least 2 weeks. It's going to be a practice. You're going to slip, but you have to get yourself back on that train, and then write me and tell me how it's going. Will you do that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Marie. My name's Stephanie Toma, and my question relates to being relatively new to being all in. So about 5 months, I kind of took the plunge in there. And at what point in time do you do things to start to get, let's say, your name out there versus get paid? So this is specific to coaching and speaking, workshops, writing.
Yes. So here's the deal. For all of us, that's a very individualized question. I still will do stuff for free if it's the right opportunity. If I think that it is beneficial to both me and whoever's asking me to do something for free, I will do it. So case in point, Oprah asked me to talk on our stage. I didn't say, what's the fee? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I will fly myself there. I will happily show up with bows on my toes and perform the shit out of this stage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, for you, it's really about understanding your financial goals and then trusting intuitively. You kind of know when people ask you to do something for free and you're like, this is some bullshit, versus you're like, this is a great opportunity to hone my skills or to develop a relationship that could lead to something extraordinary. I think you need to trust yourself more. Josh has a great story, my man. So he's an actor, and he told me once, there were years where he was doing student films and student plays, and he was working as a contractor to keep a roof over his head while he was building up his acting career. And he got so tired of not being paid that one day he told himself, he said, I'm going to draw a line in the sand. He said, from this day forward, anytime someone offers me a gig in acting, the first question I'm going to ask is, what's the budget? What's the role? And when people would come back and be like, oh, you have to work for free, it's a student film, he's like, I'm not available. And he said, it's really interesting that once he drew that line in the sand for himself, he started getting paid acting gigs and becoming a working actor. There's something to that. There's some like spiritual little flag that you plant in the sand when you're like, I no longer work for free. Again, 99% of the time, because those opportunities come in, you're like, yes, please. So I would invite you to investigate that for yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're almost there. And then we're going to take an amazingly fun picture.
Hi, I'm Jess. Thank you so much for everything you do. So I'm launching my first online course in January, and the tester version is coming out in October, and it's all about intuitive cooking, because I want to teach people how to cook at home. So I just wanted to know, what would be your one piece of advice for launching an online course be?
Okay, so testimonials and success stories. So getting those and having them be very results-based. So think in terms of before and after. So before I took Jen's course, this is the kind of struggles that I was going with. This is what I didn't know what to even buy. I would waste all kinds of money because I would over-purchase and then it would go to shit and I would throw it away, whatever it is, right? And then I took Jen's course and all of a sudden I have healthy meals in my fridge for a week and my family's X, Y, and Z. Make sense? Yeah. So customer success stories, best thing.
Thank you.
Awesome. Hello.
Hi. So much pressure for being last, I guess. So I'll just make a confession. I honestly, and please don't take this personally, I never heard of you before coming here.
I don't take it personally. I'm happy you came to the party, man.
Thank you, yeah.
Welcome to the show. Now your life just got 100 times better.
So am I. No, I took exactly, it already has. I took a friend's seat because they were out of town. But anyway, my point is, I want to just ask you a question because I just left, for 8 years I worked on Wall Street. I left the job because it wasn't fulfilling enough, right, to some of the stuff you're talking about. And now I'm working with undergrad students on career success because it's so much more than, just what you think. So I was now a first-gen immigrant, I want to help other people. I guess the one thing I was struggling with is so I did that 6 months ago, and this fall I am actually speaking to students at the top 15 schools, all of them. So I'm super excited about it. But how do I become comfortable to charge people similar to before me?
Yes.
They're college students, right? But I quit my job and whatever. I've somewhat of a savings built up. But how do I get consciously comfortable with charging students for my career advice from 10 years of working, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, and I'm just going to be unabashed about this because I know what I'm doing and I've been doing it for a long time. You should consider B School next year.
Okay.
If you're actually going to run your business. Just something you're going to, there's tons of free stuff around that'll come out online. Just note that for yourself.
Okay.
In terms of this conversation, do you know any other businesses that actually work with students that are profitable?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you think they're cool?
Some of them.
Some of them, okay.
Yeah.
But are there ones that you look up to or you think have real integrity and are like, wow, they're really doing a great service?
I feel so in my thing, I could probably do as good a job or better.
Awesome. And do you think that, so for some of the companies that are existing, they're obviously doing their best, but the students get benefit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should say, oh, wow, there's all of these students who need this help. And again, this is just me having some fun with you, but there's these companies that I think I'm way better. I could serve these customers on a whole different level, and I can give them 10 times the value for their money. Move over, bitch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So get in that place of service, that place of generosity, that place of wanting to wow them and really deliver an experience that helps them have fulfillment and success in their career. And I think that alignment piece with the money will just snap into place.
Super. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. You guys, that was amazing. So 3 things before we take an amazing picture. So here's what we're going to do. 1, genuinely speaking, if you love the book, please review it on Amazon. It's one of the most important things you can do for the long life of the book. That's number 1. Number 2, do you guys know about the free course that you get just by the fact of being here? Awesome. If anyone doesn't know about it, go to eifcourse.com. There was a whole chapter that didn't make it into the book. It's advanced material, and I'm teaching it to it free for everyone who has the book. So go to eifcourse.com. It's happening in October. Make sure you sign up. And if any of your friends got the book, make sure you sign them up. It's going to be amazing. And then number 3, are you guys ready to have some fun with a picture? I want San Francisco to be like the best tour stop. So y'all got to get lit for this. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to take your book. And where is Tom? Yeah, Tom's coming on stage. Joanna, you in for this? You want to have some fun?
Sure.
All right, good. So basically, we're gonna have our backs to you, and then when I count to 3, so stand up. You're gonna hold your books up, and we're all gonna say, "Everything is figureoutable." Is that cool? And act a fool, because again, we're gonna be dead in 100 years. We might as well have a good damn time while we're here. You guys ready for it? You ready for it? Okay. So. 1, 2, 3. Everything is figureoutable! Oh, wait, I did that wrong. I showed you the cover. Let's do it one more time. Ready? Ready? This is fun. Guys, I've been on tour for a couple days. I have no sleep. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Everything is figureoutable! So, have a seat before we let you go. Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. First of all, Joanna, thank you so much. Have a seat. This was awesome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you survived all of my stuff.
No, it was great.
Okay. So I just want to tell you guys this. The book is really, really, really powerful as long as you use it. So please don't just read this book, but actually do the insight to action challenges at the end of each chapter, because that's what's going to help you make all of the material personal and relevant to you. And then the last thing I want to say is this. If you take nothing else away from this night, please just remember to say everything is figureoutable as much as possible. It's a simple 3-word phrase that can change the entire trajectory of your life. It will help you stop focusing on problems and start focusing on solutions. And here's why saying that phrase is so important. It's because the most powerful words in the universe are the words that you say to yourself. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to Scribd. Thank you to the New York Times. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting me. We love you guys so very much. We'll see you soon, San Francisco. Thank you.